Hey Jacob, hope you're doing well today, man. I'm Brady Hughes. I'm the guy you've been chatting to on Instagram. It's actually pretty cool about the fact that I reached out to you in November last year, and then you got back to me. You seemed pretty keen. So essentially, what I'm going to explain in this video is I'm going to explain a few things that I noticed back then when I was doing some research and just really getting into this new offer of mine. So essentially, what I do, obviously, what I do is I do marketing for local businesses across Australia. So I do SEO, I do paid ads, I do paid Google ads, paid Facebook ads, all that good stuff, right? But essentially, my main offer is local SEO. So I get businesses ranked at the top of Google. So essentially, if people are searching up for your services, for your instance, it'd be, Arborist near me, or tree lopping services near me, or Arborist in Brisbane, Arborist in Logan, Arborist in Sunshine Coast, Arborist in Gold Coast, things like that, right? So when people are searching up for your services in the nearby cities or suburbs, then my job is to get your business ranked at the top of Google. Well, at least in the top 3. So the reason why it's so important to rank in the top 3 in Google is because the top 3 get paid, right? So when people search up for services near me or services in city name, for example, Google Maps always shows the top 3 rankings, all right? So the top 3 organic rankings. So as you can see here on my screen, I've searched up Arborist in Brisbane, and Google Maps shows me the top 3 in this little thing here called the Google Map Pack, all right? And then if I wanted to see more businesses that are ranked below, I would need to either click on more businesses here or on the maps button up there, right? So as you can see here, I've searched up Arborist in Brisbane. Obviously, you're not ranked in the top 3, but that's why it's so important to get your business ranked in the top 3, because about 75% plus of your potential customers are more inclined to click on one of these top 3 first, all right? So the top 3 businesses are the ones getting the calls, the ones getting the inquiries, and obviously the ones getting the customers, right? It's still possible to get customers if you're ranked below the top 3, but obviously being in that top 3 is just going to absolutely skyrocket the amount of customers and calls you're getting, right? So that's my job. And then you essentially don't need to spend any money on ads because that's all organic. Like if you're ranked in the top 3 in Google, then you essentially don't need to waste money, thousands and thousands of dollars on Facebook ads and Google ads. While that does help in the future, it's obviously very important to optimize your organic rankings before you even consider running Google ads or meta ads, because it doesn't make sense to waste money on Google ads, Facebook ads, and stuff like that when you could quite literally just rank in the top 3 organically and then get a lot more business that way first, and then just really dominate in the future once you actually optimize that first, right? So what I'm going to outline is a few things that I noticed on your Google business profile and on your website that we can tweak and change. Obviously, that's not going to guarantee you to get your business ranked in that top 3, but it's a few things that you can just try out and kind of get your brain jogging a little bit as to how the Google algorithm actually rewards businesses and ranks businesses at the top 3. Right, so the first thing I'll show you is a quick heat map that shows you rankings for the keyword Arborist. So I've used the keyword Arborist. So essentially, if people are searching up the word Arborist near me or just Arborist, and they're located in these different locations on the Google Maps, then you're ranked in these different areas. You're ranked in these different rankings in these different locations. So what I mean by that is, so the distance between each of these circles that you see on the grid is just under 2.5 kilometers, as you can see there. So essentially, for example, if I was located over here on the maps and I searched up Arborist near me or Arborist, then you'd be ranked 20th. So as you can see here, you're ranked below 20th for this entire grid. I can expand out the grid even more, but there's no point because, the more you expand out, usually your rankings drop even more. So as you can see here, you're not even ranked on the first page because the first page has 20 listings. So every single page on Google Maps has 20 listings. So yeah, obviously you're nowhere near the top 3 right now. So there's a lot to improve in that regards. So now you know kind of where you're ranking and who's beating you. Your main top competitors obviously are Boris Tree Techs, All Tree and Palm Trees, High Tech Tree Services. So they're like your main competitors. Or kind of just depends on where you're searching. But yeah, obviously that's who's beating you, who's competing against you. So now let's move on to your website. So as you can see here, you've got a header 1, right? So this is your header 1. That's your main header. Then you've got your header 2, which is this part here, right? So what you want to make sure is you want to make sure that your header 1 and header 2 especially are SEO optimized. Now, the way you would optimize your header 1 even more is instead of just saying cheapest tree lopping and arborworks, because that's just your company name, right? Instead of just having your company name as your header 1, you want to change that to include more key service listings and more key location listings. So, for example, if you're mainly located in Brisbane, for example, you would say tree lopping and arborworks in Brisbane. or arborist services in Brisbane, or tree lopping services in Brisbane, right? So you're including your main key search term, and then you're also including your main key location term, right? So that's how you're going to optimize your header one to be ranking higher instead of just having your company name as a header one. Because obviously what you can do, instead of having your logo, you can have your logo, but you can also add your company name in the top there in the little header section, or you can even add it to the top right or top left-hand corner. It doesn't really matter. But you don't want your header one to be the company name. That's obviously not optimized. And then for the header two, you just want to make that a little bit more SEO optimized by, so instead of just saying now servicing Gold Coast, Brisbane, Logan, and Sunshine Coast, you can include all of those key location listings, but then you would also add in some trust factor. So you can say, trusted by locals in Gold Coast, Brisbane, Logan, Sunshine Coast, things like that, right? So you really want to optimize the header two by adding a little trust signal in there as well. Now, obviously, there's a lot more things that we would do just by looking at website. There's a lot more areas that I would improve in regards to SEO and the user experience and the actual, conversion optimizations, little things like that. I don't want to bite your ear off too much. So now let's head off to the Google Business Profile. So the first thing that I noticed on your Google Business Profile is that you don't have, you've got a very broad targeting area, which is okay. But if you really want to maximize your rankings for one location, say Brisbane, for example, you don't want to have such a broad service location, area radius, if that makes sense. So if most of your customers are coming from Brisbane, for example, you would really want to hone in on Brisbane instead of, having your service location start all the way up from top of Sunny Coast down to Gold Coast. Because if you want to start small and then really optimize your rankings in that Brisbane area and then start expanding out, that's obviously fine, but there's no point having such a huge service radius when you haven't even optimized for ranking in the top 3 for any of those cities initially. So that's the first thing that I noticed. You want to really condense that down and optimize your rankings for one particular city or suburb first. And then the second thing that I noticed is that you don't have any location. You don't have your directions up here. Now, I understand that you're most likely operating from home and you probably don't have like an office or a company location. If you do, then of course, add that in there. If you don't and you just operate from home, also, you still want to be adding your directions, your location in there, but you don't need to have your actual home number address, if that makes sense. So you can have your street address so that, that kind of boosts the signal and algorithm for ranking high in that area, but you don't need to have your actual street number. So if you don't want people rocking up to your house, that's totally understandable. So you just can have the street name instead of the street number. I'll just show you mine, for example. So for my marketing agency, it's called Flowrise. As you can see here, ours is pretty optimized. So we rank at the top of Google when people are searching up marketing agency near me or marketing agency in city names. So we're based in Mareeba in Far North Queensland. So when people are searching up marketing agency in Mareeba, we rank right at the top for that. So as you can see here, I've got my street address. So I've got my street name, but I don't have my street number because obviously I operate from home. I don't want people showing up to my house. That's totally understandable. So if that's the same as you just do that, right? So that's going to boost your the kind of correlation between the Google algorithm. It's going to boost the signal and understand exactly where you're located, and it's going to improve your rankings for nearby customers. So instead of you trying to optimize for people that are 20, 30, 40 Ks away, it's going to optimize for people really close by. So that's the second thing that I noticed. Obviously, another thing that I noticed is that you don't have any Google reviews. You've got 0 reviews. So obviously, it's very, very hard for you to outcompete a business that has 200 plus Google reviews, right? So Google reviews do play a huge factor in ranking businesses higher. Obviously, it's not the only thing that's going to improve your rankings, but it's very, very, very difficult for someone like you that has 0 Google reviews to rank at the top when you're competing against other businesses that have hundreds, more than 100 to 200 Google reviews, right? So you really need to optimize that. Now, I don't know your situation. I don't know if you're working with any clients or even if you have worked with clients. I'm assuming you have, right? So you really want to be optimized. You really want to be going out of your way to get as many Google reviews as possible. Even if it's just family members, things like that, you just really need to make sure that you're getting those numbers up. All right. So as you can see here, I've only been running my marketing agency for just over a year now, and I've got 35 5-star reviews. Obviously, I could have got way more in that time. I wasn't really optimizing too much until about 3 months ago. But yeah, definitely want to optimize the amount of reviews you're getting. Definitely want to add your location in there, and you definitely want to condense down your service radius as well. And then on your On your website, you really want to make sure that you're optimizing this header one. So take out your company name and replace it with something like Tree Lopping and Arbor Works in, or Tree Lopping and Arbor Services in Brisbane, or whatever suburb or city you want to really hone in on. And then obviously for header two, you would add that little trust signal in there. So instead of just saying now servicing, you could say trusted by locals in Gold Coast, Brisbane, Logan, and Sunny Coast, right? There's obviously a lot more that I can tell you to help you, rank higher, but I'm not going to spend too much time on this video. But essentially, I do this for businesses all across Australia. Like I said, I do charge a monthly fee for this. So I've got two different options. I've got a monthly fee of 397 Australian dollars per month, and that covers an entire 90-day guarantee. So my guarantee for all of the businesses that I work with is to get your business ranked in the top 3 within 90 days. Otherwise, I keep working for free until I do achieve that, right? So I've got two options. I've got $397 per month for the 3 months, which ends up being about $1,200, just under $1,200. Or I've got, if you want to pay the entire thing up front, it's just $997, and that ends up being about $200 cheaper. And obviously, both guarantees still apply for both of them. So I hope you found this video helpful, man. Obviously, if you don't want to work with me, that's totally fine. I still hope that this, you found this really valuable and really resourceful, and you can take some action on this. If you did find it helpful, reply back to me on Instagram, or leave me an email reply as well. Let me know how much it helped you, and feel free to leave me a Google review as well based on your experience with this video. But if you are pretty keen on working with me and you would like to learn more about it, then also reply back, let me know. I'm keen to hear back from you. Cheers, mate.